That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to a special edition of Higher Ed Pulse. I'm your host, Mallory Wilsey, and we're live at the 2024 AMA Symposium for the Marketing of Higher Education, bringing you conversations directly from the floor with thought leaders, innovators, and industry changemakers. Let's dive in and check the pulse of what's happening right here at the symposium. Welcome back, everyone. We are live at AMA in Vegas, and I am sitting down with Christian Ponce, AVP for Marketing at Old Dominion University. Christian, we are halfway through Monday. I heard you went to the keynote this morning, and it had an impact on you. What was it about, and how has your day been so far?
Thank you, Mallory. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I really enjoyed the keynote speaker because it was about inclusion, but he gave you the scientific part of why being inclusive is important. We as human beings are wired to belong. It's in our DNA. That's how we are. So when actually one of the things that I learned is when you're not included or something happens to you, actually there's research that said that the pain activates in the head, in your brain. In other words, the same pain that activates your brain when you cut yourself, the same pain activates in your brain when you were rejected. So it's incredible. Just learning that is something that we need to really take in consideration to be more productive, where people have a sense of belonging, they work harder, they're more productive, they enjoy more what we do. So those are things that I'm taking away with me, and that I think is important that our teams that we work with also know.
That's amazing. And especially in this world where we are often in remote or distributed teams too, creating a culture of belonging and a sense of purpose for our team members is just even more important now than I think ever before. So I appreciate that AMA found that to be a worthy subject for a keynote speaker. But Christian, we're here to talk about artificial intelligence. Listeners know I take a very pro AI stance, but a topic I haven't spent a ton of time exploring on this podcast is around using AI to help you develop KPIs, key performance indicators. So tell me a little bit about kind of your thoughts on this topic and any experiences you've had so far.
Thank you, Mallory. Yes, I've been exploring with KPIs and AI lately because it is something that in our group, in our team, we are putting a lot of energy, a lot of effort to do. And I was thinking about once that wouldn't it be awesome if there was a tool out there that can help us do this better? And the reason is because we're spending a lot of time in goals, but also in setting those KPIs and tracking those KPIs. So in doing that research, I came up with some platforms that can really help you come up with your goals, come up with your KPIs, analyze your goals, and we'll go from there.
Right before we hit record, you said something to me, and I wrote it down. You said, AI is not thinking for you. It is a tool. So in my experience in developing KPIs, it takes a lot of thinking, right? Because you have to have so much knowledge of your marketing goals and strategy, the institutional goals. You have to ladder it all the way up, especially in a role like yours as an AVP. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of thinking that goes into that. So where is AI making things faster and more efficient? And where is it helping maybe augment some of that thinking?
Absolutely. I'm going to give you a quick example that I think all of us as marketers do. When you're working on a creative brief that you're going to present to your CMO or someone in your team, as part of that creative brief, you should have something that is measuring your efforts, your campaign. So you're going to have to come up with KPIs. It used to take me a day, it depends, maybe two, to just come up with how we're going to measure this campaign and do the heavy thinking. Now that can be done in seconds. So you can front load that work, have it there, come back to it if you need to, and think deeper and fix it yourself. Because again, it's not thinking for you, but it's making your job a lot easier. You don't have to do the blank page anymore, right? And if you want, we can talk about some examples.
Yeah, I'd love to dig into examples. I feel you on that blank page syndrome. I know a lot of people are still in, I think, ideation mode when it comes to using AI, and often our kind of first thought is, oh, I'm going to use it to help me write something like an email or a landing page. So I don't even think a lot of people realize that you can go back and forth with an AI tool to outline KPIs and come up with what you should be measuring. So give me some examples, like, and how much are you prompting the tools to, like, do you have to develop really intricate prompts here, or have you found it to be fairly simple?
I have found it to be fairly simple, but at the end of the day, when you're working on a campaign, and if you have your brief, at that point, you already know what your marketing goals are, what your communication goals are. You might already know what your core messages are. So I'm giving a prompt, like, for example, give me 3 goals to track my branding on my education campaign, for example. It will immediately, when you hit enter, it will give you in 1 second, maybe 3 seconds, brand awareness goals, brand perception goals, and conversions. Then you can ask another prompt. Okay, give me 3 ways to track these goals, and then immediately goes to, okay, let's track brand awareness, let's track brand perception, and let's talk about the net promoter score, and then the conversions, of course. And then I generally ask, how do I track the NPS? What tools do I need to use? So immediately gives me a list of tools, including a Google Forms, and another one that is specifically designed to track NPS goals, and is promoter.io. So then I ask, how do you estimate the net tracker promoter score? And it gives me a formula, or it gives me step by step what are promoters when you grade them from 9 to 10, or passive 7 to 8, or detractors 0 to 6. And then I asked, how do I calculate the score? And it gave me a formula that was like math-based and all of that. So can you give me direct explanation of the formula, spelling words as directives? And it gives me exactly what I need to do, right? So you need to count the detractors, you need to divide the responses, you need to multiply by 10, and then you get your percentage.
So listeners who are not sitting down with Christian and me in Vegas, like, we are actually looking at Christian's screen at this tool, Elephant AI, and he is showing me, as he's talking through, he is showing me these very simple prompts that are yielding really great. Like, he just talked you through it. Like, we're looking at the screen. It is yielding very clear instructions, and at the same time, like, first of all, this was all done within minutes, right? So what you just said took you days. Now, kind of, you've ideated in minutes, but it's also educating you in the process. You're going back and forth with this tool, asking it about the NPS score and how to formulate it and what tools to use. I mean, like, that in and of itself would have taken 30, 40 minutes of Googling and research. So the time efficiency that AI brings, I told you before we hit record, I was just talking to someone down the vendor hall, and I asked them if they were using AI, and their response was, I don't have time to learn it. And my response was, you don't not have time to learn it. Like, AI is going to give you time back if you invest just a little bit. So sorry, I had to say all that because I am just so, like, I continue to be amazed at the simplicity of getting started with these tools. But the key is you just got to get started sometimes.
100%. Like, for me right now, I am working on 7 different paid campaigns for my job. I'm doing a campaign specifically for biology. I'm doing a campaign for the graduate school. I'm doing a campaign for the education department. So we have really separate briefs, if you will, with specific goals. I'm going to use this, no doubt about this, to be able to save a ton of time. And not only that, but also I plan to use it also to iterate. If something is not going well, I'm going to put here, and I will say something like, hey, I have this ad. I'm going to put the headline, and this ad is not giving me the number of impressions that I like to have. And then what can I do? And I'm expecting that this tool is going to give me another solution, like change the headline to this or do this. So it really is not thinking for you. You're doing the thinking, you're doing the strategic questions, but it's saving you tons of time in achieving your goals.
I have recently gone through some KPI exercises myself as we're, looking to 2025, just around the corner, and kind of thinking about for Enrollify, like what is important for our network. And I'll tell you, I turned to AI. I loaded into ChatGPT a bunch of information, a bunch of data from this past year, information about our goals, and not just like numbers-based goals, but like what do I want people to feel when they're thinking about Enrollify, or when they're at a conference and they see a creator. So I spent maybe half an hour pulling information together, because AI is only like garbage in, garbage out. Like it's only going to be as good as what you give it. But when I gave it all of that, it spit out for me within minutes very clear and articulate goals that I was like, oh yeah, like had I spent 2 days thinking about it, I probably would have gotten there. But like, it was so simple. And I really feel like the information it gave back, like it was like, these are the 3 things you have to be tracking. And then here's all the other stuff you can do. But it helped me kind of narrow in on what's the most important things.
100%. And I think one of the beautiful things about AI is, by design, is machine learning, right? So when you upload all that data, the platform is going to learn it. And when you continue working with it as part of your project, as part of your process, it's going to give you better information as you go on.
Yeah, exactly. So, Christian, you said you're working on 7 campaigns and you're going to start integrating this. I'm curious, like, as you are looking at the marketing organization overall and connecting what you are doing back to the strategic plan or institutional goals, where do you see some opportunities for utilizing AI tools in kind of those spaces?
That is a great question. Great question. In fact, I was reading an article today about a study that was done in terms of KPIs, and the study was done by MIT Management, the School of Management. And the research shows that organizations and teams that use KPIs are 4.3 times more likely to see improvement in brand alignment. One of the biggest challenges I've had for the past years, and I don't know, I'm here with you, and I'd love to hear at some point from other marketers, is brand alignment. What does it mean, and how do you ensure that your message, your assets, your goals are aligned across the whole brand spectrum? Using KPIs and using this type of tools will help you with that, because one of the things that it can do for you is when you put your goals in there, you said highlight or give me, analyze, what does this mean? Sometimes I ask AI, like it's a person, what does this mean? ? And it gives you information that you can use to align your brand. As I was taking a look at these articles, I noticed that there are 3 things that KPIs can do for you, and is what they call smart descriptive, which is synthesizing the historical data and current data, which you were just talking about, like you were uploading all that information, and that's what they call smart descriptive. There's another one called smart predictive, that you can start seeing what is the predictions, what can happen, and then prescriptive, smart prescriptive, that is when it starts giving you recommendations on what to do. That's what I think is going to be, that's the $1 million question, right? What do we do with all this information? And while AI is not thinking for you, you're still putting all these prompts, is going to help you arrive at good analysis with you. I mean, like 2 partners working together, you're going back and forth. You're asking questions, you put a prompt, it gives you an answer. You read it, you like it, great. You don't like it, ask another one.
That's it. I very much think about the AI tools that I am using as additions to my team. In some cases, they're my intern. In some cases, they're my data expert. But I am able to free my human team up to go do the things that AI can't do. And now I can augment the roles or what we're doing with what AI is really great at. And so I think you nailed it. That's exactly it. Christian, this has been absolutely fantastic. I so appreciate you taking time. I know it's a busy schedule here in Vegas. As we are wrapping this up, any final thoughts on this topic or AMA?
Well, AMA is fantastic. If you're not a member of AMA, I encourage you to become one. This is the third time I come to this conference, and I am extremely, if I may, excited to share that I am actually talking in this conference. My workshop is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Vegas time, and we'll talk about multicultural marketing and uncovering nuances in the new marketing in America. But in terms of KPIs, what I would like to say is that you need to embrace them. You don't need to be afraid of artificial intelligence. It's here to stay. So we might as well embrace it. Think about you being a graphic designer in 1987. Right? You were still using typeface. You didn't have the cloud. You didn't have Adobe Express. And then about 1990, something changed, right? What would have happened if you said, no, I'm not going to use that tool. I'm going to continue doing what I was doing. By now, you would be obsolete. You would not be able to work as a graphic designer because nobody works like that. I think we're heading that way with AI, and I think it's just something like the same way that you became computer literate, you have to become AI literate, and don't be afraid of it. Don't be intimidated by it. It's a great tool, and it's here to stay. So embrace it.
That's incredibly encouraging to hear a leader at your level say those words. And so, folks, I hope this will help inspire you to maybe test out some KPI planning and measurement with your favorite AI tool. But the one that we've been talking about today is elephant.ai. And I'll admit, I haven't used this one yet, but I'm going to be checking it out later this week. Christian, thanks so much. Folks, we'll be back later this week with more live episodes from AMA. Until then. The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.